Evil doesn't always snarl. Sometimes it smiles. It shakes your hand, remembers your birthday, and looks you straight in the eye as it plans your ruin. For years, psychology spoke of the Dark Triad: narcissism, Machiavellianism, and psychopathy, 3 traits that explain ambition without conscience, manipulation without guilt, charm without empathy. Dangerous, yes, but incomplete. Psychologists Delroy L. Paulhus and Kevin M. Williams formally introduced the Dark Triad framework in 2002, identifying narcissism, Machiavellianism, and psychopathy as distinct but overlapping traits that drive destructive personalities. Because some people don't just manipulate or detach, they don't just harm, they savor the moment it lands. Sadism is the 4th shadow. It doesn't merely tolerate suffering, it craves it. It waits for it. It designs it. When pleasure fuses with power, cruelty stops being a byproduct. It becomes the plan. And in that union, the Dark Triad evolves into something far more dangerous. A predator who doesn't just win at your expense. They win because you lose. That predator has a name, and to understand it, we have to trace its lineage from the trio psychologists once thought was complete to the 4th shadow that changed everything. For decades, the Dark Triad stood as psychology's most unsettling profile of destructive personality. 3 traits, distinct yet often entwined, explained much of what makes certain people dangerous. Narcissism fuels the hunger for admiration, inflating ego and entitlement. Machiavellianism supplies the strategy, careful manipulation, deception, and exploitation without remorse. Psychopathy removes the brakes, stripping away empathy and fear, enabling cold, impulsive risk-taking. Together they painted a picture of the charming manipulator, the ruthless climber, the charismatic con artist. But something was missing. Because some individuals aren't content to win quietly. They don't just sidestep your well-being on their path to power, they target it. They find joy in the stumble, the gasp, the slow collapse of someone else's dignity. This is where sadism enters. Research by Erin E. Buckles, Daniel N. Jones, and Delroy L. Paulhus, 2013, demonstrated that everyday sadists will choose to harm others, even without personal gain, purely for the enjoyment of the act. Unlike psychopathy's indifference, sadism is engaged. It feels. It savors. The sadist plans not only for victory, but for your defeat, weaving humiliation and harm into the design. Pain isn't a byproduct, it's the prize. In that moment, cruelty stops being an accident of ambition. It becomes its own destination. Adding sadism to the triad revealed something psychology had been circling for years: a complete predator. The triad explained manipulation, ambition, and callousness. Sadism explained why some people choose destruction even when it offers no strategic benefit. Once the 4th trait clicked into place, patterns sharpened. The mystery cruelty in certain bosses, partners, and public figures suddenly had a name. It wasn't stress, accident, or misunderstanding. It was an appetite. The Dark Tetrad is more than a personality framework. It's a warning system, a reminder that evil doesn't always act out of desperation or necessity. Sometimes, it acts because it enjoys the act itself, and when pleasure fuels power, the danger is no longer about what someone might do to get ahead. It's about what they'll do for the thrill of watching you fall. But naming sadism was only the first step. Seeing what it does to the triad reveals just how far cruelty can evolve when it's no longer content to hide. On its own, The Dark Triad is dangerous. Narcissism brings the ego and entitlement. Machiavellianism plots the strategy. Psychopathy strips away empathy and fear. Together, they create a personality that can manipulate, exploit, and discard without a second thought. But when sadism enters, the formula changes. The Dark Triad doesn't just intensify, it mutates. Cruelty stops being incidental. It becomes intentional. Harm is no longer collateral damage, it's the blueprint. A Machiavellian without sadism may lie to gain power. Add sadism, and they lie to watch you squirm. A narcissist without sadism might humiliate to protect their ego. Add sadism, and they humiliate because they enjoy the collapse they cause. A psychopath may harm without caring. A sadistic psychopath, they harm and savor every moment. It's no longer ambition's shadow, it's the light they move toward. This is the defining transformation, intent fueled by pleasure. The sadist's satisfaction amplifies the triad's existing machinery. Planning becomes more ruthless, charm becomes more predatory, and risk-taking gains a new incentive, the thrill of suffering delivered. What was once covert manipulation can evolve into open predation, masked only by the perpetrator's ability to play the part of the charming leader, attentive partner, or loyal friend. The emotional detachment of psychopathy now works in tandem with the emotional engagement of sadism, but only with emotions drawn from someone else's pain. In this fusion, the predator no longer needs justification. No practical gain is required. The act of harm itself is the reward. When cruelty joins the mix, you aren't dealing with a ruthless opportunist anymore. You're dealing with someone who seeks out the opportunity, because watching you suffer is for them a form of winning. When the four dark traits, narcissism, Machiavellianism, psychopathy and sadism, converge, the result isn't simply additive, it's alchemical. The elements fuse into a single seamless identity, a predator without conscience, without restraint, and without need for justification. Each trait contributes a vital component. Narcissism supplies the motive, a towering need to dominate, be admired, and confirm one's superiority. This is the gravitational pull that draws others into the predator's orbit. Machiavellianism provides the method: cold calculation, manipulation, and long-term strategizing, the invisible scaffolding behind every move. Psychopathy offers the detachment, no guilt, no empathy, no hesitation, allowing decisions others would find unthinkable to be executed with calm precision. Sadism delivers the fuel, not merely tolerating harm but seeking it out, savoring it and feeling rewarded by it. Neuroscientific studies such as Chester et al. 2019 show that in individuals high in sadistic traits, the brain's reward center, the nucleus accumbens, can activate during acts of cruelty, reinforcing harmful behavior. Individually, each trait can cause damage. Combined, they form a self-reinforcing loop. The narcissist's ego drives the Machiavellian's schemes. The schemes succeed more easily with the psychopath's lack of remorse. And the sadist's pleasure ensures the cycle doesn't just continue, it escalates. This is not a fractured personality, it's an integrated machine. Charm becomes a tool for control. Strategy becomes a means to engineer suffering. Risk-taking isn't reckless, it's targeted. Every action feeds two hungers: advancement and the visceral satisfaction of another's downfall. It's a rhythm they don't rush. because the anticipation is part of the reward. The fusion also makes detection harder. The narcissist's charisma masks the psychopath's coldness. The Machiavellian's patience hides the sadist's appetite. To outsiders, this person may seem merely confident, ambitious, even inspiring. They can pass every surface-level moral inspection because their worst impulses are cloaked in competence and timing. But for those caught inside their sphere, the experience is corrosive. Praise is laced with control. Help comes at a cost. Trust is engineered only to be weaponized later. The victim is not simply discarded when no longer useful. They are dismantled piece by piece for the predator's enjoyment. When all four traits act in concert, the result is more than manipulation or cruelty. It's predation with purpose. The suffering of others isn't accidental, nor is it merely a means to an end. It is the end, the defining reward. This is the full alchemy of evil, four shadows combining into a single, sharpened blade. And once you've seen it in action, you understand the most unsettling truth of all. It doesn't just exist in nightmares. It thrives in daylight. And it wears a smile you might have trusted yesterday. We like to think predators are easy to spot, volatile, obvious, somehow set apart from the rest of us. But the most dangerous carriers of the Dark Tetrad rarely fit that image. They don't lurk in shadows. They walk openly through offices, schools, families and communities, wrapped in the camouflage of normalcy. They are functional. In professional settings, they may be the rising star, articulate, decisive, and tough but fair. Their narcissism fuels a magnetic confidence. Their Machiavellianism ensures they navigate politics flawlessly. Psychopathy keeps them unshaken under pressure. And sadism, it hides in plain sight, disguised as discipline, humor, or constructive criticism. A cutting remark in a meeting designed to erode someone's credibility. An impossible deadline set to watch an underling sweat. Withholding praise until dependence takes root. These aren't accidents. They're calculated acts of control and humiliation, delivered with enough professionalism to escape formal reproach. In social circles, the mask might be even more convincing. They can be the life of the party, the friend who tells it like it is, or the partner who sweeps you off your feet until the hooks are set. Then, subtle cruelties emerge, inside jokes that cut, backhanded compliments, private criticisms that leave you doubting yourself. What makes them especially insidious is their plausibility. Outsiders often see nothing wrong. In fact, they might admire the person's charisma, wit, or leadership. Confrontations are deflected with charm, humor, or counter-accusations that make the target look overly sensitive. The mask is their greatest weapon. It allows them to inflict damage without arousing suspicion, to maintain allies while isolating their chosen targets, and to move on without consequence when the destruction is complete. The Dark Tetrad doesn't need a lair. It needs an audience and a stage. And in everyday life, the crowd is both. The mask works because it doesn't just hide the predator, it draws us closer, and too often, we step toward the danger willingly. If the Dark Tetrad is so dangerous, why do so many people fall into their orbit, sometimes willingly? Because they know how to be irresistible. Narcissism gives them confidence that reads as competence. Machiavellianism makes them perceptive, skilled at mirroring your values, humor, and hopes. Psychopathy keeps them calm under pressure, unshaken by social anxiety or fear of rejection. And sadism. It stays hidden at first, lending an undercurrent of intensity that feels exciting rather than threatening. Early encounters often feel like being chosen. They focus on you, flatter you, and create a sense of connection that feels rare. Their attention is intoxicating, especially to those who crave validation, mentorship, or belonging. They position themselves as the solution to your problems, the ally who understands you, the leader who will protect you, the partner who sees your potential. The danger is in the slow reveal. They don't show all 4 traits at once. Instead, they ration their darkness, testing your boundaries, normalizing small cruelties, and conditioning you to accept more. By the time their predatory nature is visible, you may already be entangled, socially, emotionally, or professionally. And here's the most unsettling truth. Part of their draw comes from our own instincts. We're wired to respond to confidence, authority, and charisma. The same traits that help leaders inspire also help predators control. The line between attraction and danger is thinner than we want to believe. This bias is supported by research on the confidence heuristic, Price and Stone 2004, which finds that people often interpret confident behavior as a sign of competence, even when it isn't warranted. The abyss doesn't pull you in all at once. It leans close, smiles, and makes you feel seen. Then step by step it teaches you to mistake the fall for flying. Once you know the pull, you can break it. But breaking free requires more than awareness. It demands strategy. And in a world where the Dark Tetrad thrives in plain sight, knowing the strategy can be the difference between escape and becoming another story they tell themselves with a smile. Escaping a Dark Tetrad personality isn't just about leaving a toxic relationship or quitting a hostile workplace. It's about dismantling the psychological web they've spun around you. 1. See the pattern, not the excuse. One sharp comment or manipulative gesture doesn't confirm a predator, but a pattern does. Track their behavior in writing, dates, incidents, your emotional state. Documentation cuts through the fog of gaslighting and helps you trust your own perception. 2. Watch your feelings around them. Do you feel drained, anxious, or perpetually on trial in their presence? That's not intuition overreacting. It's your nervous system sounding an alarm. Consistent emotional depletion is a sign you're being managed, not supported. 3. Limit your data leaks. Every vulnerability you reveal is potential leverage. Keep your personal details, insecurities, and plans to yourself. Small disclosures are fine, but avoid giving them ammunition they can twist later. 4. Build external anchors. Predators isolate by eroding your outside support. Counter this by strengthening ties with friends, family, or professionals who can give you perspective. Honest voices outside the predator's influence help you break their narrative. Predators count on you being too exhausted to draw a line. That's when they press hardest. 5. Set boundaries early and enforce them. Boundaries with a Dark Tetrad personality will be tested every time. Expect pushback. Respond with repetition, not explanation. I'm not discussing this. This deadline won't work for me. Explanations invite negotiation. Firm, brief statements signal limits. 6. Don't seek closure. They will not give it to you. In fact, attempts to talk things through often give them more opportunities to re-engage and manipulate. Closure comes from clarity, not from their cooperation. 7. Exit strategically. If possible, leave quietly and on your own terms. Sudden confrontations can trigger retaliation. Secure finances, housing and support before you pull away, especially if they control resources or networks. 8. Stay no contact when you can. Predators exploit any crack in the door, block communication, avoid mutual spaces, and resist the urge to check in. Every contact risks reactivating their influence. Escaping the shadows requires accepting one hard truth: you can't fix them, but you can free yourself. And when you do, the light outside will make you realize how dark it really was. And once you've stood in that light, you'll never mistake the shadows for safety again. The Dark Tetrad doesn't always look like a villain. It often looks like a leader, a protector, a friend. It wears a smile that feels genuine, speaks words that sound true, and moves through the world with a confidence we mistake for strength. But beneath the charm is a perfect storm of ego, manipulation, detachment, and cruelty, fused into something colder than indifference: delight in harm. Human evil isn't always loud. It doesn't always break laws or raise voices. Sometimes it sits across from you at lunch, nodding, laughing, even offering help, while quietly tightening the rope. Recognizing it is not paranoia, it's survival, because the most dangerous predator is the one you never see coming, the one who convinces you they're on your side until you're too far in to climb out easily. The face of human evil isn't monstrous, it's familiar. It's someone you trusted yesterday, and the sharpened blade they carry is forged from everything you never saw coming. And when it quietly strikes, you'll remember only the smile that came before it. You've now walked through the shadows, from the self-obsession of narcissism to the cold calculation of Machiavellianism, to the empty mask of psychopathy, and finally, to the hunger of sadism. Together, they form the Dark Tetrad, a blueprint for human evil. The warning is clear. These personalities don't always wear chains or wield weapons. They wear smiles. They hold titles. They shake your hand. And if you don't know the signs, you'll never see the damage until it's done. This isn't about paranoia. It's about awareness. The more you understand these traits, the less power they have over you. Learn the patterns. Trust the discomfort you feel. Protect your boundaries, because the Dark Tetrad isn't rare. It's not fading, and it's already in the room. See it, name it, and never let it own you. Thanks for watching. See you on the next episode.